Hi, hello, what is going on? Are you good? Are you having a good time? I don't know a lot about you. I don't know what time of day it is. I don't know what you're doing, but I can tell you one thing about yourself for certain is you're here. You're listening to me and all my friends. That's my podcast. My name is Ryan. I could have done that in a little bit better of an order. I'm not gonna hide from that. I'm here. I admitted to it. I am at fault. Okay, you've forgiven me. Okay. Hi, are you good? I've been a little bit busy, doing a thing called Dreamstone. It's a short film that, I put out, a couple days ago, like a week ago, and it's been consuming my life. Like 2 weeks ago, me and Anna Brisbane, the last episode of this podcast, and my girlfriend Megan, we all went to Toronto to do, Buffer Festival, this big, awesome film festival YouTube thing, and it went great. We got to show the film. We got to meet a bunch of new people, see a bunch of other films. It was amazing. And then the week after that, last week, we put that film out online. I would love if you watched it if you haven't seen it already. YouTube.com/Brizzy. It's up there. Dreamstone. You can see it. You can view it. You can put it in your eyes. It represents like so much work and so much passion and like a really great collaborative team effort with a lot of people who have been on this podcast. Go figure. So I hope you. I mean, I continue listening if you want, but I won't fault you if you pause, if you go watch the movie, and then listen to this amazing episode with the one, the only Sarah Rodriguez, SarahSneak. She's here. You know her, you love her. Maybe you don't know her, but you're gonna know her and you're gonna love her. She is great. This was such a blast to record. Sarah and I have known each other for a bit, for maybe a year or something like that, but had never really gotten a chance to sit down to talk to get to know each other and kind of the nitty gritty of that. And I was so happy to do that. It was awesome. I learned a lot. Things about her life, things about growing up, but also things that she kind of stands for and things that she's after. And I think that this is really like a good special episode, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Just a little house cleaning. I love the people that have been leaving reviews on iTunes. That is amazing. The people that are subscribing on SoundCloud, amazing. You guys are the best. Not to say that I like you. You know what? Let's say it. I might like you a little bit more than the people that haven't gone on iTunes, but that's okay. That's an easily solvable thing. If you're listening on iTunes, all you got to do is you got to search the podcast, me and all my friends, leave a review. It helps like the podcast get discovered. It helps it become more visible, and it helps it continue to have a little bit of a presence. So drop, even if you just leave a couple of stars, a couple of words, subscribe, whatever you got to do, because we're coming at you week to week to week. There's a lot of good conversations coming up, and you're not gonna want to miss it. That's all I got. Is that good enough for the intro? Did I do the intro? Do you want to just go right into listening to Sarah? Because I can do that too. Is that what you want? Yes? Okay. Here it is. Sarah Rodriguez. Oh, you want to hear something good too?
Yes.
Do you have like a Starbucks rewards thing, like card? Yeah. I don't know why anyone doesn't. Just sidebar, because like you get the rewards are good enough that and it's free. I don't know why. Whatever. The refills alone is enough to merit it. So you get the card, right?
Right.
And I realized, I think I needed a new card, or maybe I just realized that you could make your name anything on the Starbucks website or on the app. And to reorder a card was free. Yeah, to reorder a card was free. Now this is years ago. This is probably 3 or 4 years ago. Because I never used my physical card. The gold card, but I have
Usually
had it.
Have the app.
I've had it since like 2010. This gold card. I've now had 2, but I always use the app. So I realized this. I was like, and I reordered the card, and I was like, you can get anything printed on this fucking card. They don't check your name or anything because it doesn't really matter. It's a Starbucks card, and then it wasn't. And this is the only online order I've ever done at Starbucks where you order it, ahead of time, and then you go and pick it up. I never do that. And it wasn't until I'm like, hey, I have an order for Ryan. And she looks at the row of drinks and she goes, Dr. Ryan, and that's what's on the fucking drink. Because on my Starbucks card it says Dr. Ryan, and only one person has ever noticed that. Like a barista at like a Target, like took my card and he was like, "Oh, you're a doctor?" And I was like,
No.
I had to think of it. I was like, "What? Oh, no. This is just a good joke that I have." So that's a little bit of a bamboozle that I've got going on. Hey, hello, my name is Ryan, and this is my podcast. Me and all my friends. We're here with actress, YouTuber, person. I don't know what other. It's hard because some people. I was just saying this to someone the other day. I forget that like there's two kinds of these where it's like some people are like there's a million things, and then there's other people that I know, and not to say that one's better than the other or anything like that, but some people are just like I do one thing and I love this thing and I'm good at it and that is my life, and I'm like, good for you. What's that like?
Sometimes I wish I could be that kind of person who just had like that one niche that you could just like be a part of, but
nope.
I think it's a little more interesting in life to be multifaceted and like
it's more interesting. Well, it's like, you know what I would maybe compare it to is that like I am like a freelance person. Like I don't have like, you know, one job or anything like that, but I did have a full-time job for a long time. And it's like, so that world is like, you don't need to worry about the stress or anything like that because you have a paycheck. You're just going to come in every 2 weeks, but like you sacrifice a lot of like your self-identity and all these other things. But then when you get those other things, you have other things to stress about. So it's like, there's two sides of the coin. So Sarah, when did we met? We met
Renaissance Fair?
Was that the first time? Yeah, it was.
I think it was.
But that was like a minute. That was like pretty much like a year before we like were hanging out. I think. Or maybe not a year, but maybe like months.
A couple months.
Yeah.
I remember meeting you guys. Yeah, let's see. You and Megan were there.
Mm-hmm.
Dom.
My friend Chris was there, I think. Maybe we went to the Renaissance Fair twice. Maybe he wasn't there that time. Anyways, but there was like a group of us, and then it's funny because like, well, because how do you know? Like, I want to go back to like your birth.
But that's a story.
Well, let me tell you, I was there. But so you know Anna Brisbane, and that's just through like a YouTube world?
Yeah, so back in like, oh my gosh, 2011, I think.
Okay, so OG.
Yeah, I got partnered with Big Frame and their Wonderly thing, which was like an all-female nerdy like vertical. Okay. And it was really cool. Like there were a whole bunch of really neat people on there. And Anna was on there, and then we all had like
2011?
I think it was 11. Maybe it was before that.
I think it was after. I don't think Brizzy Voice was until like 2012.
Okay, then maybe after that.
Okay. So, but early Brizzy days, yes.
And we all had like a private Facebook group that we were all part of as part of our vertical. Wow. So we would all talk and like ask for help, and our managers were there to like give us suggestions and stuff. And I kind of just like friended some people that I thought were pretty cool, and Anna was one of them. And then I met up with her a few times at some of the VidCons, and she hung out with us. And she came into our room, and we made what we called like crack quesadillas or something. And basically we used the ironing board and tinfoil and made quesadillas because we didn't want to pay for
like a $12 room service quesadilla, sure.
Exactly. And then we did crack s'mores, which we made with a hairdryer, which were very messy.
That's like way more of a thing. It weirdly, like this year, multiple people have told me like, yeah, you just use the iron in a hotel room and you make food with it, and that never occurred to me. So that's a new thing that maybe I'll have to explore.
I mean, if you're being cheap, like go to Target, you know, and like that's all.
I'm all about like bringing. Once in a hotel room, I got a package of. This is such a sidebar, but I got a package of candy corn Oreos because I was like, oh, this is sick. It's Halloween time. Candy corn Oreos. Everyone will love these. And I sat in a hotel room. It was like a crew like day room, and people were kind of going in and out. And I was like, I'm going to put these down. Everyone will eat them. And I sat and I ate the entire thing of them.
Yep.
But I didn't heat them up with an iron. I don't know where I was going with that. So let's take it back. So you are from Reno.
Yes.
The biggest little town.
Little city in the world.
The biggest little city in the world.
Some of you have heard some things about Reno from Alex's podcast.
Yeah.
So, I won't go into great detail about that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, Reno, I mean, what was Reno for you? Where are your parents? Where are they?
Okay. This is going to be a very long and maybe sad story.
Okay.
So I was born in Orange County.
Okay.
And then we lived there till I was about 5. Then my dad had terminal cancer, basically. No. So we moved around a lot. In Orange County, San Diego. We even went down to Mexico for alternative treatments. So we were kind of doing that for a while, and then my dad ended up passing away when I was little, and that was very traumatizing for my mom, for me, and I'm an only child. So then we kind of moved from here into Reno and back again. My grandparents were in Reno. They had a business. They were making they were contractors for the military. Okay. They were making
your grandparents were?
Yeah, I mean they weren't military contractors, but they were making switches for bombs. Sure. Isn't that weird?
That is pretty weird.
So they were doing that, and they had a good company for a while. And then, anyways, so I kind of lived with them. Back and forth between my grandparents here and in Reno. So eventually after my dad passed and everything kind of blew over, we ended up staying in Reno, and we had a house there. Yeah. And my mom had kind of set some roots there, and we didn't really have any other plans after he had passed. It was a lot of money that we had spent on his treatments and stuff. Yeah, sure, I'm sure. We were really, really poor for a long time. Yeah, so we were in Reno since I was about 5 or 6, I'd say. Okay,
so that was. Did it kind of feel like you as a kid? I mean, I would assume that moving around, you aren't able to make permanent friends so much, and so was Reno really the first place that that was able to happen, where you were there for an extended amount of time, right? And, so what just because Reno is such this mythic place, I feel like what was growing up in Reno was it were you in a more suburban setting, or is it more rural, or
I personally lived in what we call the township.
Okay.
So it wasn't technically in Reno.
Okay.
It was right outside of it. So I got to go to one of the best elementary schools in the county. Because it was more of an outside of the city area. Sure, more of the rich people and stuff lived out there too. So they sent their kids to this school. And I also lived right near the Truckee River. So we would walk not even a couple hundred feet, and the river was just right there. So we would walk down there, we'd do all kinds of fun stuff.
So it was outdoorsy while still being, because Reno's pretty deserty.
Yeah, it's called the high desert.
Right, because I haven't been in Reno, but I've been to Tahoe and flown through Reno. Sure. So, but I feel I don't have any. So you were at least outside and not in total torrential desert hellhole.
I mean, you could walk across the street and there was a giant desert across the street. And there were coyotes, and people would see rattlesnakes, and sometimes rattlesnakes would come into our neighborhood.
Oh, fun.
And you have to call the animal control, and they would deal with that.
That is so outside of my, every once in a while my town would get a cougar or something, but it was oh, did you hear there's a cougar? It's not annoying anyone, it's just there, and I guess we're gonna need to get it out of the town. So what kind of kid were you? Were you
oh god,
were you a extroverted or introverted, or what was the little Sarah like?
Little Sarah had a lot of issues. We're gonna get deep here, man.
Do it.
I was very introverted. I think my mom is an introvert. And I mean, going through what I went through as a kid, that closed me off a lot. Sure. And made me very angry and very sad. So, but I also, I wanted to have friends, and I wanted to be liked. And I don't know, it was a difficult time for me. So I was an introvert. I was very, very smart. I remember always getting straight A's and always reading and I remember my grandma would make fun of me because I always wanted to read the newspaper with her.
Okay.
And she was like, "Why is she wanting to read the newspaper?" And I was like, I want to see the comics, but I'll also like read some of the articles with you. And I was like 6 or 7.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I had friends, but a lot of them were interesting to me. I want to say a lot of my friends like used me.
Okay.
This sounds horrible.
No.
Like they used me for my smarts and like
to like copy off of you and stuff like that. So did that? I mean, did that kind of like atmosphere of you being kind of more introverted and more but intensely smart? Did that like take the form? Was that what like launched you into like a creative and like kind of nerdy world, or was it that kind of separate?
I mean, I always really enjoyed like reading a lot, and so I remember like the Redwall series being one of my first like super fantasy things I enjoyed before I realized Harry Potter was a thing. Hi, kitty.
Oh, there's a cat's joining us.
Hello, kitty.
No one can see you, so you're just gonna have to believe.
There's a kitty. So I would read a lot. We would read, there's a series called Mrs. Pigglewiggle, and it was very, like, magic-based, and I was all about magic and, wanting to,
Well, that was, like, a good time period, too, because I feel like, when Harry Potter came around, it was, like, all that stuff got popular. Like, it was all of a sudden, like, acceptable to, like, be reading, Like, even, like, I think I read Sorcerer's Stone in, like, first grade or something like that, and then it was, like, that opened the gate to like. What was your favorite Redwall book?
Oh gosh, God, I haven't read them in so long I couldn't even tell you.
I'll tell you, my favorite was Tagarong. It was that was a great one.
It's that one.
That because it was like I just reread it recently because like whenever I go home I'd get bored inside of like 13 hours of being home and I'm like, okay, well, what am I gonna read? And then there's like my old childhood books and I reread it and it's crazy because there's like a prophecy of badgers and otters. It's so good.
Did you when you reread a book from your childhood, do you look at it from a different perspective and you're like, wow, this is very like I don't know, like too young for me, or like not too young for me, but like too.
Maybe there's been times where like I've read like Goosebumps recently and I've been like, oh, this is just, what is this? but like something like Tagarong, but even then I do feel like it's already embedded in me, so when I read it I'm like, oh, this is great.
It's just nostalgic.
Yeah, and I get hankerings for like Roald Dahl too. Like I get hankerings for that stuff. Yeah. Even now. Maybe because it's also like I try to write and make that stuff. So anyways. So
tangent.
So the world of tangents. So where were we? So you're smart. You're reading. Your friends are kind of making fun of you. When did not making fun of you, but like using you as you said.
Yeah.
So like when did that change at all? Like as you enter like your
adolescence.
Your adolescence, like like that period of your life where you're insanely confident and everyone loves you and you're your full self.
Thanks.
That's what everyone's adolescence is, right? Yeah. So I mean, what was the process of growing up like then for you to go from being super introverted into what's the next step?
Well, I was going to therapy a lot, which I completely condone, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And my mom, put me through that, and actually my therapist said, "Why don't we put her in martial arts?"
Whoa.
And I was like, "Yes, I want to be the pink Power Ranger, please. Thank you. This is all I've ever wanted." So I did martial arts starting when I was about 8.
Okay.
And at first I hated it. I was not good.
What kind of martial arts? Like karate?
Taekwondo.
Whoa. And
it also was kind of MMA inspired too.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The first school I had ever gone to was called West Coast Martial Arts. They have them in like Northern California. And it's like Ernie Reyes' school, and I think Ernie Reyes is like a ninja turtle, like an original ninja turtle or something like that. So I went through that school for about a couple of years, and I got my first degree black belt through them.
Whoa, awesome.
And that was fun. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
There was a lot of tears, but also it helped build my confidence.
Sure.
So I think that was a really important part of my life, was getting my black belt.
Yeah.
And I did meet some of my best friends through there for at least through my high school, middle school years. And then I got my second degree black belt through the same school that kind of like morphed into something else.
Right.
They're still cool. Like, I'm very glad that I did it.
Yeah. When was the last time you practiced or did fighting?
Like 9 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you just kind of like you just got to accept that it's like part of your past.
Yeah. But I did train a couple like years ago, just around randomly in like Southern California at school, and I did the white belt program. And I didn't tell them that I had a black belt.
Yeah.
And they were like, I think I was terrifying some of the students because I was going hard, and these kids were like, "Oh my god!" And the instructor goes, "Obviously you know how to do this, so could you just like calm down a little bit?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I just have a lot of aggression." So
when did that? That almost reminds me of like that Michael Phelps thing, where like Michael Phelps was like a little bit of a scattered, like introverted kid, and then he like started swimming and was just like, I'm gonna go swimming the fastest. So when did that channel into like creative stuff then?
So here's another story.
Okay, great.
My dad was a big band geek.
Okay.
Like huge.
Like marching band?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My dad was into that, and then my mom and dad would go film for local PBS stations down here in Southern California.
Okay.
Like marching band, like corps.
Like he would do the
He wouldn't do it. He would like go film it. So like he was camera crew.
Okay, cool.
With my mom, and she would like sit in the van with the big satellite dish and like with all the tape decks and stuff.
I like how specific this is. Yes.
I have very vivid memories that I've never even like been part of, but she told me all about it.
Okay.
So anyways, he was big into that. He was part of a band. He played like the saxophone, the French horn, the trumpet, all the percussion.
Awesome.
So I know he really wanted me to be like musically inclined.
Right.
So I tried my damnedest to do some sort of music. I did clarinet in middle school and I hated it. But I was like, I have to do this. This is what my dad wanted me to do. So I go into my freshman year of high school, which is a championship level band in Reno, and I'm like, great.
Yeah. This is your moment.
This is my moment.
Yeah. And
I get there and I'm like, this is too hard for me. This is horrible. I hate it. I'm so bad. I was like last chair, and I'm like, I can't do this. And I would cry and I would hate it, and I would like, and then I realized I'm like, I'm not gonna do this anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can do drama. Like I always wanted to do like a real like theater class.
Yeah.
So basically, I joined theater because I quit band.
Okay.
And I hated it.
So it wasn't like you had joined it because you were like, this is all I want to do.
Right.
It was just like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It's funny. I have like almost the exact same story where like my high school freshman year schedule was messed up. And my guidance counselor was like, well, the only two classes that still have spots are you could take like wood shop or you could take drama. And I was like, just put me in freaking drama. And then it was like the rest was there.
Yeah.
So you take drama, and then was it like love at first sight, or was it kicking and screaming still?
It was a little bit kicking and screaming because we all know that the first year of drama is more about like sitting there and they teach you history.
Sure.
And then they're like, maybe you'll do a monologue.
Yeah.
You'll stand up and you'll read from this paper.
Right.
And my first year drama class was more, she was an English teacher. She really wasn't like a drama teacher.
Okay.
She did drama and she did like stuff.
Sure.
She liked me, but nobody else liked her, so that tells you what kind of person.
Was there like at your school, was it only like a class thing, or was there also like a club where they were doing plays and stuff like that?
We tried to have drama clubs and it didn't work out.
Okay.
There were like 4 of us, even though like our school, like we had pretty good plays.
Yeah.
Like we had.
What kind of plays? What kind of plays are we talking?
Let's see. What did they do? Oh my gosh. We did like some Shakespeare. We did some like classics. I remember I did something called Up the Down Staircase. That was like my first show I was in. It was great.
Why not? It sounds like a high school play, Up the Down Staircase.
It's and it's in a high school. So.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the next step of that for me from going like bored to... Do you have like a hero moment where you're like, and now I'm an actress, or is it?
Yeah, I think that show was a big step for me.
When was that? Was that freshman year, or was that?
Oh my gosh, was it freshman year? I think I was a sophomore.
Okay.
I was terrified, absolutely mortified.
Were you one of the leads, or were you just kind of?
I was like one of the bit characters,
okay,
like
fun.
the crazy librarian lady.
Sure.
Who was like really strict about like get your books back on time, but also like she was like in love with her books to a point where it was kind of creepy.
Okay,
like,
so you have some like business to do on stage.
Right.
You have a character. Okay.
Yeah, I had a character.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun. I had this crazy costume. I had this like apparently had like a drippy nose situation, so I was constantly like walking around like looking like I was about to sneeze up I don't know, Niagara Falls or something. I know. What? Just imagine sneeze.
I can imagine it, but it's a very like intense. All right. So that was your moment of like, I'm an actress. This is it.
You know, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, people were laughing, and they were enjoying it. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, people are laughing at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, this means I can like do things to make people joyous or like happy. Maybe not at that point. I think at that point I was feeling good about myself.
It's like,
and I was like,
they like me.
Yes, exactly. So after that, I started joining. I did like advanced drama, and we did a lot of different little shows. And there's a lot of turmoil with the teachers and stuff. I think Alex told you a little bit about. One of our teachers, he had to go away because he was very sick. Right. And so we went through a few different teachers, and some of them were not very stable people. Right. But I learned a lot there. I really enjoyed it. I had some really, really good experiences with some substitute teachers, actually. Okay. Who came in and kind of, like, did completely different stuff with us. Sure. Because they were more, like, actual, like, people from LA. She's like, yeah, I did acting for like 10 years. And so she did like real acting techniques with us that you do in college. Sure. Or like as adults that you probably shouldn't do in high school. Right.
Well, so it sounds like even inside of high school, you're getting like a pretty good exposure to a lot of different stuff.
Definitely. I got the range of crazy to not so crazy.
And when was there a moment where it was like, wait, I can do this for a living, or I can do this for a career, or was it always that?
I think at first in high school, I really wanted to be a marine biologist.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to train dolphins. It's going to be great.
What was that? What was going on there?
I just loved going to SeaWorld, but now, now we shouldn't talk about that, but Blackfish. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to do that for so long, and then I realized I was really bad at like biology by my junior year. I took the AP test. Sure. And I was like, I think I got a 3 on that test.
So even as late as like junior year, you were still
like, I'm gonna be a marine biologist.
Did it feel like that was like a real job that you could have, like as opposed to like acting, which is?
I thought about it.
Yeah.
But then I had a really supportive biology teacher, and she was trying to help me, and I was just not getting it. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
So it's like process of elimination. It's like the band didn't work out, biology's not working out. What's next? What's gonna work out?
And I'm like, okay, like drama's fun. I'm into it. Like I'm into it. And I had a few more roles. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember the name of. I can't remember anything I was in, but it was a really fun show.
Can you remember like your favorite? Like is there one standout one?
I was the villain in one of these shows. Okay. Where I was like, oh my God, what was it called? It was called The Butler Did It. It was one of those kinds of shows. Sure. Like a murder mystery.
Yeah, why not?
So I was the maid who in the end turned out to be the villain and the killer. So I got to wear like this like big old frock, and then at the end of the show I ripped it off and I unveiled my skimpy little dress and my red belt, and I was like, ha ha, I killed you all. And I really enjoyed that show a lot because it gave me a lot of power. Yeah. It gave me like a feeling like I could actually do this. Like I could feel I felt important.
Yeah. Definitely.
And also, people really enjoyed the character again. So.
Yeah. Does it feel like maybe coming from like a more introverted place, or a place where you were younger and didn't like is that maybe the transition point then like, whoa, like I'm on a stage, like I can command a little bit, I have control of myself a little.
And I think that's a really good thing to bring up. Yeah. I was so introverted, and it's like sad that I kept a lot of my feelings in. Sure. So when I was on stage, I was able to kind of have these moments where I'd reach out and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I can not control, I can let loose. Yeah.
Sure.
And I can be.
You can lose control.
I can lose control, sure. Yeah. I can be somebody else, and I can feel free, and I can feel open.
Sure.
And I think that's really important to think about. Like, when since I'm older, like, I've had moments where I'm like, this feels amazing. This is exactly what I want to show people, and I want to tell people that they're able to be free and, like...
As far as acting goes?
Yeah. Like, if I had an ultimate goal in acting, it would be to inspire others to reach out and find the art in their life.
Sure.
Or, like, the beauty in the world.
Yeah. So that's, like, how you would define, like, the art, the art in your life is, like, the beauty, the something.
Or not even the beauty. I mean, shoot, there's, like, horrible things that happen to you every day. And, like, there's beauty in that, and there's turmoil and sadness, but it's all art in a way.
Sure.
Yeah.
So taking it back.
Yeah.
We're skipping ahead, but it's okay. So you're doing these. So did you go to college for?
Yeah, theater.
Theater? Like you didn't. There wasn't a undecided and then theater.
I didn't have like 5 majors like some people, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I get that. It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I really, my friends wanted to go, or some of my friends wanted to go to AMDA, which it was, I don't know, American Musical Dramatic Academy, something. It's out here in LA. It's like in Hollywood.
I don't know how I've never. Okay, anyway, so people want to do that, but you said no.
I was like, I kind of want to do that because they were going.
Yeah.
And then I looked into it, and it was very expensive. And I knew my mother could not afford to even try to help me out with that. Sure. And it would be on me. Everything would be on me. It was like $25,000 a semester or something stupid. Yeah. So I looked into the University of Nevada, Reno, and they gave me a fat scholarship because I had lived in Reno for so many years.
And you were still smart.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I think at the end of high school, I had like a 4.35 weighted GPA.
Sick.
Yeah.
So you're a smart kid.
Yeah, I was like number 14 out of my class.
Nice. That's
like
awesome.
500.
Nice.
That's not bad, right?
Isn't it funny that like when you're a senior, that is your entire like world? Like not that you're like, not to say that like you were like, yeah, like this is my worth is number 14, but like that means a lot to you. And now like however many years later, even like a few years out of high school, like you have like a whole new life and people around you and they don't know your rank in high school and it doesn't matter, but that used to be the number one thing. Anyway.
You could walk around with a t-shirt right now saying, I was number 14 out of 400.
Yeah.
What were you?
like, wouldn't it be weird if you were like out meeting someone and they're like, oh, what was your like high school class rank? And you're like, what? It's like, that doesn't, like it speaks so little to like who you become.
But it was important to me then.
I was number 9, by the way.
You were 9?
I was 9.
Hey, okay. So we're like...
you're
better than me.
Podcast over. What was I saying? So you go there... Well, and I think we've probably skipped over an important thing at this point, which is like, was YouTube already a part of your life at this? Or did that enter in college?
YouTube was like right after I graduated high school. Okay. And I was bored.
What year was this?
2009.
09. Okay, so primo YouTube days.
Yes.
Primo early YouTube days.
Yeah, and one of my friends had introduced me to funny videos, and he was like, "You got to watch this guy."
Yeah.
And it was Mitchell Davis.
Hell yeah. Do you follow Mitchell Davis on? Like
recently?
On like Twitter? Like do you currently follow him on Twitter?
I think I do, but I follow like 3,000 people, so things get lost in the mix.
I don't want to like, I'm sure he's like a good guy and I don't have anything, but Mitchell Davis's Twitter is a hot mess, man. Yeah. Check out Mitchell Davis's Twitter because it's
a little weird.
It's going to make you a little sad. So you saw Mitchell Davis. Are we talking like, we're talking long hair, V-neck, Mitchell Davis. Dude,
Scarves.
I had a Mitchell Davis shirt that said like, this is awkward, but I like it. I had that shirt. Yep.
I was in love with him, and not like
sick.
Not like, oh my god, like he's so hot. Like I was like, this guy's so funny.
Yeah.
And so my first video was pretty much me copying that kind of like random weirdness.
Hi, hello,
Yeah, like it would be like jump cuts, and then I would be like going, yeah, oh my god, and I'd be pulling faces, and it was so bad. I still have those videos up, and I should probably take them down, but sometimes it's funny to like go back and watch them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he honestly was my inspiration, like my biggest inspiration to start. And then I started making like random, weird, filmy kind of things where I was like filming like a flower on a vacation. This is some of the worst YouTube content ever, but you gotta go there.
But it was also like 2009, so like we didn't know yet.
Yeah.
Like now we know what is good and what is bad.
Right.
But in 2009 there was no line. Like no one was making like really good stuff yet.
Right.
And so there was So I mean, you're forgiven.
Yeah, like, and I had a lot of fun on there. Like, and I built an audience through Daily Booth. R.I.P.
Fuck yeah. Dude, I was a huge Daily Boother too.
We probably saw each other and didn't even know it.
Yeah, that's that. Honestly, I was like, I have real life friends to this day from Daily Booth.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I found out a lot of people like Mitchell Davis was on Daily Booth, so that's why I went there.
Yeah.
And I started posting photos, and then I would link to my videos, and people would watch it. And I made lots of different friends from Daily Booth.
Cool.
And I have them as friends on Facebook, and like, it's so weird. So I'm kind of sad that went away because I actually really enjoyed it.
It was really fun. Well, it was like Instagram. It was like Neanderthal Instagram
for your computer.
Yeah, it was great. So you're making videos. I mean, when did it start to stick? Like, when did you start to have like an identity of like, were you always SarahSneak?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that? What's going on there?
SarahSneak. The only reason I have that name is because I needed like an email account to like set up like Neopets or something.
Hell yeah.
I have had that. It was just a username. So I just kept it because I was like, Sarah Loves Dolphins 91 wasn't acceptable.
Yeah, but
so my mom and I went through like a list of different Sarah things.
And it was a fully random.
Yeah, it was
Sneak
random.
was fully random.
So
Good.
SarahSneak, but it's very. It rolls off
works.
the tongue.
Yeah, it works. It's in a world where like you need something simple to like for people to grasp onto. Yeah, totally is good.
Yeah.
So like when did you start to have like an identity? Because like if we're talking by 2011 or so, you're on Big Frame, and that's obviously a significant enough thing. What was the path of you figuring out your YouTube identity?
So because I was such a fan of like all the YouTube stuff, I started making like those 30-day challenge things.
Sure.
Like
video every day kind of thing.
Exactly, and that helped me out a lot. Like it gave me different topics to talk about. So I did those, and I did those leading up to the first ever VidCon. And then that VidCon, I decided I was going to film every single day and upload that same night, so people could watch.
Sure.
That weren't able to go.
And see, yeah, that's great.
So I got to do that, and I got a big following from that. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So VidCon is actually what sort of set me off in like a good path. And I had fun making those videos too. Right. And it was, I don't know, it was really interesting, like being there
and then so at that point, were you ever like a career YouTuber in that like it was working enough for you to be like, oh, this is my job and I'm doing it?
No.
It was always kind of a casual, like a hobbyist thing.
Yeah, it was like a hobby thing, fun. You know, on Big Frame, I only got picked up because I made a reaction video to like the DFTBA calendar, like the men of DFTBA or whatever.
Sure.
They had like a calendar. I don't know if you remember this.
I do not remember the calendar. No.
I made this whole entire reaction video to every single picture. And the people at Wonderly thought it was really funny and super nerdy. So they're like, hey, we want to pick you up.
Yeah.
So I was just doing like random, and then it started just being more like what you would know today as a YouTuber. Like sitting down and talking about a situation or doing like a funny little sketch or something like that. Daily vlogs were still my favorite thing to do though.
Right.
And I still like to do those occasionally.
Yeah, but it's, at a certain point, if it's like not paying the bills, it's not paying the bills. So, what was the relationship then of like you growing inside of that with like going to college and having like, whatever else going on? I guess like whatever else going on, like formalizing and becoming more of like an actress.
Yeah. College was interesting for me because all of a sudden you get like since I was in the theater program, it was a smaller program. There was probably about like 40 of us, like roughly in the smaller group.
Right.
And you started to notice, the people that were really there for acting, that were there for, so it was like all of a sudden you go from like being like pretty cool at school to being like, oh, I have to compete with these people, and you're back in square one again.
Yeah.
But I had a really, really good teacher. I think Alex told you about him too, Rob.
Yeah.
He was like a no bullshit kind of a person. Like if he knew you had something in you, he'd be like, I need you to stop screwing around and get your stuff together because I know you can do this.
That's a great person to have in your life. I think.
And I would cry, and then I'd be like, you're right.
Yeah.
And then I would get my shit together.
Yeah.
And so he taught me a lot. He also helped build my confidence because I think he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Yeah.
That's so, and also like, even when you're done with his class, that voice is like still in your head. Like, wait, no, you have that, that narrative going on.
Yeah, he was the head of the theater department too, so he had a lot of pull. I mean, he would direct at least one show a year. Cool. And I would like kill to be in every single one of his shows, and I was in like 3 of them, I think.
What was the best one you did?
Well, the most meaningful one was we did Hamlet, but it was a world premiere in a sense because we did it in what's called original pronunciation. Okay. Original pronunciation is
here we go.
Yep, I know. It's this whole thing. Basically, there are linguists from the Royal Shakespeare Company who have gone back in history through books, through like transcripts of people saying how people sounded. Okay. And they're like, you know what? Shakespeare didn't talk like we think he talked, like in this received pronunciation, like very proper English, all this stuff. Like it was gritty. It almost sounded kind of piratey and weird. Okay. So
how do they know this?
I know, right?
Okay. So you did this original pronunciation. Yeah. Was it the hardest thing ever?
Yes.
Do you like get Shakespeare? Like, does it work for you? Because I feel like it's like a learned or like an acquired taste to be able to be
Shakespeare's hard. Yes. I have to go through it a couple times before I'm like really invested in it. Right. And this one was difficult. It was different because it was just this whole like hard, excruciating, painful experience that we all had together. Yeah. Me and the cast. Yeah. And you had to be really smart to be in the show. You had to be able to do IPA, which is the phonetic alphabet. Okay. Because we would write down every single word broken down into sounds. Okay. And then we would like memorize our monologues, and it looks like alien language. Like if you've ever like looked on Merriam-Webster or whatever, and it has like the weird.
You would have to do that, but for this original pronunciation. And what was the lesson there? Like when curtains go down, like what? Because you said it was the most meaningful, right? But like meaningful how?
It really shows you what, when you work so hard with a group of people that you can create these like lasting relationships with people, or these memories that are just going to be so powerful. Definitely. Plus, it was just so cool and different. I mean, we had like world news outlets come and like report on our.
That's amazing.
Our show.
Who were you in the show?
I was like one of the play within a play people. Okay. So I got to play like Hamlet's personification. Great. Basically, where I like killed my own father, and it was this whole thing. And then what else did I do? No, that was me. That was just me.
That was just you.
I had a lot of fun doing that. Yeah. And it was crazy, and it's just this whole long story. So that was
that's good. Yeah.
That was a really fun one for me, for sure. And I think if anybody is listening that was in that show, they would understand as well.
What was like? Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. So I got it. I'm putting a pin in that question. I didn't even say. So I mean, what else catches us up to the end of college? Then you do a couple shows. You're taking classes. You're learning. Is there a particular like method you're drawn to, or a particular style?
Sure. People were taking. We had these choices between these 2 really cool classes, and you were supposed to take one or the other. Yeah. You could either take improv, or you could take Meisner method.
Okay, that's very intense. Polar opposites. Yep.
And I was terrified of improv. Yeah. So Alex, she told you about this. She did improv. Yes. I was the other person who was like, I don't want to do that. So I took the Meisner method. Absolutely terrifying class as well, because the Meisner method is very much about like being exactly in the moment and accepting everything, but also like using repetition
Yeah,
to...
that's like sense... Is that sense memory and stuff like that?
No.
Or that's more like Stella
It's
Adler?
it's more literally about reacting in the very moment.
Okay.
Like, to what you're seeing.
Okay.
So you have to be very open. You have to take down the walls. So that's why they use the repetition. The repetition gets you to this point where you just don't, like, you're stripping all of that, the wall build up. So then you can just be free to, like...
And exist totally in character.
Exist.
Yeah. Did that take for you? Like, was there, like, did that make sense when you were doing it? Or have you, like, expanded on it in different ways?
I mean, when I was doing it, it was very mild.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to take a Meisner, like,
full
intensive,
sure.
like the 3-month course or whatever it is. It's like thousands of dollars probably.
Yeah.
The teacher was very supportive of me, and I had this moment where I just broke down during class. But that's what they want.
Yeah.
I was sitting there building a house of cards because you have to have a task.
Okay.
I was building a house of cards, and my partner walks in. She knocks it down, and then she starts making fun of me. And
as part of a scene?
As part of, like, yeah,
or an exercise or
yeah.
something?
And I just broke down.
Yeah.
But then it was so real. Like, it was so visceral.
Yeah.
So I think that was really, really a big moment for me where I was like, wow, this is really fascinating.
Sure. That's great.
I was very interested in the Meisner method.
Yeah.
And I'm still I still feel like I'm that kind of person. I'm not really like a Stanislavski kind of person. I'd rather be more exactly in the moment and react off of what somebody is giving me. Sure.
And is that, I mean, as part of like Meisner, I mean, how much like memorization and stuff do you do? Or is that when you're more loose on the page?
You're supposed to have things down cold.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to.
Right.
And you're supposed to know your story. Yeah. But you don't have to do like that total recall thing. Sure. It's informed. Yeah. You inform it off of what your partner's giving you. Sure. So the way you're looking at me right now, like I could look at you and be like, okay, he's hiding something maybe.
Oh no.
Or like, I mean, that's what I'm seeing from you. Right. So the way I would start reacting, and then I'd start giving you something, and then you would bounce that off of me. Cause I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, whatever. I mean, whatever gets you. Some people do that like kabuki, like mask stuff, and some people just like memorize the words. And then, I mean, what's the process then of getting, because were you doing like short films at all or sketches or anything like that? Or was your college experience mostly like theater? Theater. Sure.
The film program was there, but it was very small. Yeah. They didn't have like an actual like film program, which kind of sucks. Yeah. So they had like film classes, and like I had friends in the theater department who made films, but they never really asked me to be in it. Well,
jokes on them, am I right? So what gets you to LA then? Because that's obviously like a pretty significant move to be like, I'm gonna go to this dumb place.
Going off that film stuff a little bit, starting like my freshman year of college, I joined our local, like the only one of 2 agencies in Reno. Okay. So I got booked for like promotional gigs. Oh, cool. I got booked for some small movies. Some of them were bad, some of them were good.
Were you SAG at this point, or was it kind of like unofficial?
This was all non-union stuff. Sure. They didn't...
the union does not exist in Reno.
The union does not exist. They did come and film a few SAG movies in Reno because the taxes were like cheap. Good, yeah. But yeah, so I did some films, and those were really fun, and I was like, oh, they're actually using me a lot. Like, that means I'm talented. Yeah. So that was actually really fun, and I met some really good friends there that are filmmakers in Reno that still do stuff today. Cool. So that built up my confidence as far as like film goes a little bit.
Why not? Yeah.
So I graduated college. I hated my life. I didn't hate my life. All my friends moved out here or to New York. Okay. That was like literally it. LA, New York.
And you're talking all your friends are actors, like your acting friends, right?
Right. Very few people stayed behind in Reno.
Good on them.
Yeah. Very few people. So yeah, I was just trying to make money to get out here because I knew I wanted to do YouTube. Like in my head, I was like, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna be like Grace Helbig. She's my favorite. Oh my god.
Yeah. So the YouTube thing is still pretty big. Yeah. In your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I was hardcore into YouTube. Like,
Hell yeah.
that was my thing. I would
Fuck yeah.
sit there and I would watch all my daily vloggers.
Mm-hmm.
Shay, Charles.
Yep. Have you like atoned with all these people since? That's a no.
It's sad to see them, some of the paths they've gone through and like their struggles. Yeah. But I mean, I understand. Yeah. You put your life under a microscope and things are going to implode. Yeah.
I mean, you put your life under a microscope and people are going to see some shit. Like, So you save money and you get here?
Yeah.
That's the story?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I come out here, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do YouTube. Mm-hmm. And then life slapped me in the face, like, really hard.
Why? How? Was there a moment? Was there a single slap? Or was it just like a long slap that just like
like a never-ending slap? You know, it's just like, I guess I'd never really fully had to live on my own. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, like I have to make a lot of money to live out here. Because it is expensive to live in LA.
It is.
So I was working a lot. I'm doing the restaurant,
cycle. How long have you been doing that?
How long have I done that?
Been in LA?
Oh, been in LA 3.5 years. Okay. 3.5 years.
So you've been in it. You've been doing it.
I've been doing it.
So you're I mean, was there a point still like even right now, is YouTube still a primary goal, or are you way more focused on acting and being an actress?
It's an interesting mix for me right now, because I've finally gotten to this point where I feel like I'm going back out into the world and I'm trying to audition more. What I want to see myself doing is something more personality based. Okay. So I guess it would be kind of on the YouTube spectrum.
Yeah, like more hosting or something like that. Right.
I would love to do that kind of thing, because I see all my quirky, nerdy friends doing all these fun things, like going to Comic Cons and hosting parties and doing podcasts on their own or like whatever. And I'm like, this is so cool. Good for them. They look like they're having a great time. They get to be nerds. It's awesome. So I would love to see myself doing something like that. But at the same time, like, my first love is theater. Yeah. It will always be theater. It will always be on stage. Yeah. If I could find a way to be paid in LA to do theater, boy, would I love to do that. But that is almost impossible.
Well, you've had some success, as far as I know, is like getting into some plays and performing around, and that's like, you're ahead of 99% of people if you're doing that.
Yeah. I was part of a repertory company out here, and I learned a lot from them. I was in a play with my friends, and I really enjoyed that. We did a fringe show. Okay, yeah, I remember. The Dracula.
Yes, that's pretty good. That's a good voice.
Thank you. That's the only one I can do.
You can do. Can you do a full Dracula voice? Like, can you just speak in it?
No,
or can you only say Dracula?
And that is it. No, because then I probably will turn into like some weird, like, racist sounding, I'm Mexican.
I am so bad at accents and voices. Well, so what's the best or or biggest lesson you've learned, if it's in college or if it's out here, as you're getting back into things? I mean, was there a decision to not go out for auditions and stuff like that, or was it more like you were focused on something else and then you kind of like the audition cycle and
life happened. I wanted a job that I thought was going to be really good, and then I got kind of sucked into that job for over a year. Yeah, like just a restaurant job. Yeah, and it paid the bills. Boy, did it pay the bills. Yeah. But I also was working close to 40 hours a week. Yeah, that's rough. That's hard. Didn't have time to do anything, and I felt mentally drained. Yeah. They treated me poorly. So I had to leave. That. Yeah. And although I'm terrified right now, I'm also, I feel like I'm finally at that place where I need to start, I'm like getting out more, and like, I've put that aside, and now I'm like here, and I'm doing that struggle. I am being that struggling actor person where I'm barely paying the bills. I'm probably going to have to apply for food stamps again. Like, that's the kind of thing I'm in right now, you know?
Well, what's the biggest lesson you've learned about acting then? If it's out here, if it's like this, newer period where you're kind of on the come up, like what would you say is kind of the guiding lesson or the guiding principle for you about like being an actress? It could be, a method thing. It could be like, it could be physically doing it or just living a lifestyle of it? Or
I think my biggest thing is like the feeling of being so completely open and free when it's like a magical spot that you're in when you're on stage, and you just feel completely like ripped open, like your chest is just like bleeding and like there's things flying out, but you're there in the moment and it's like electricity and it's amazing. And so I guess in the Meisner method you say living truthfully under like given circumstances. So I was living truthfully in that moment, so to the point where I was just like, this is it. Like, this is amazing and beautiful. And so, I don't really know if that's a lesson or not.
No, that's a lesson. That makes sense. Well, and because you did touch on this a little bit as far as like what you're after is inspiring people to kind of find their art and find that. But like, what is would you say it's that, or would you say there's maybe a different way you word it about like, what's the primary drive? Because obviously to like be an actress and to even just to be in Los Angeles, this crazy, landscape that it is, what's like the fuel under you that's like pushing you towards that goal, or pushing you towards it, grabbing at it?
Well, since being out here in LA, I've definitely gone through some like life changes where I've realized a lot of things about myself, and I want to show people that it's okay to have struggle and have turmoil in their life. And I see a lot of that if I watch not a fun show, like a show that I'm like, wow, like I can really see this person's story and see what they're going through, and that it's okay to have depression. It's okay to be all this kind of person. Yeah. So I guess what I want to be is like a mirror to people's life, and to sort of show them that
makes sense.
It's okay to be not okay, and it's okay to be different, Yeah, no. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes full sense, yeah. Is that there's something about, like, the transference of, a lesson or an inspiration or something like that. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Especially, would you say that even is kind of harkening back to, like, you looking for that when you were younger and kind of feeling that way? Yeah? Yes. Cool.
I think that really is a big part.
Yeah. Well, now to kind of to harpoon over to the side this is my new regular question.
Oh, okay.
So what would you say like makes for a good friend? Like, what do you look for in a friend? Because obviously, like, we were talking about this earlier about you being kind of like, us mutually being in this group. Is there a common thread, or is there something that like makes a good friend for you, or what's the deal?
I think friends should be people who accept you for exactly who you are and don't judge you and don't make you feel unsafe. And I don't mean like if they're throwing knives or something, I'd feel kind of unsafe around them at all times. But you know what I mean, like emotionally unsafe.
Sure.
People who share common interests, people who just I don't know, like they want to be around you, and you don't have to say anything to them. You can just like hang out.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people out here in LA are looking for people to like look pretty with, or to party with.
Yeah, or that are convenient to them, or something like that. Yeah.
So I'm really glad I found you guys, and our little group is we're pretty chill. Yeah. We cool. Yeah. People who accept me, and I want to accept these people. I feel like I've accepted all of you guys, and I have quirks, you have quirks, we all have weirdness and strangeness, but that's why I like you guys, so boy.
Hell yeah, I was just fishing for compliments.
Yeah.
And then we got to take it because we went to it's pretty heavy places, so we got to go out on the lighter note. What is your favorite ice cream, and why? Why why is the critical part?
Great. Okay, I have a very specific answer for you.
Good.
It is Dryers, or Edie's if you're from the East Coast.
Is it not the same? It's the same thing?
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to Google this because it's the same packaging.
Okay.
But it says Dryers and Edie's on it.
Okay.
Two different guys owned the company, and then they split up.
And other East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Right. Did you know about Edie's?
Yeah, I know about Edie's. On the East Coast, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I know a little about
a little bit about it. I was like, I think you know about this.
Okay.
Their cookie dough ice cream.
Hell yeah.
Is like...
So good.
you know how there's like a food pyramid, right?
Yeah.
That's my my top thing on the food pyramid.
Yep.
I will eat a tub of that a week.
Hell yeah.
At least.
Do you do you eat the cookie dough with all of the rest of it, or do you like eat around the cookie dough?
I heard you guys talking about this. Anna said she spit it back out.
Yes.
Ew, I can't deal with that.
I haven't had ice cream. I mean, I don't eat ice cream too much anymore. But as a kid, I would like wait for the bowl of cookie dough, and then I would.
Now, I definitely will just go in on it. Like, I will fish for the cookie dough. So then there'll just be like vanilla at the end. I'd be kind of upset that I did that.
Yeah.
But I love cookie dough ice cream. Like, that's my favorite.
Yeah, it's super up there for me.
Yeah. It's real good.
It's really good.
I also like those dryers, like Dibs. They're like little tiny, like ice cream nuggets that are covered in chocolate.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But I haven't bought those in years, but I still like them a lot. They're like in a little red container.
I don't have enough of an anchor point onto those. Like if I have had them, they have existed. Like I understand, but I can't be like, oh yeah, like I would crave that or something like that.
But the cookie dough though.
The cookie dough.
Yeah.
Well, how are you? Feel good? You good?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry I brought some sadness to this podcast.
No, it's good.
I just want to let people know it's okay to be sad.
Well, what about now? You feel good? You good?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Cool. There she is.
That's me.
It's Sarah.